In this video, we are going to clarify the concept of matrix using a C++ program demo. I will use the previous program that we use for array to side-by-side comparison so that you can easily understand where matrix is actually different from an one-dimensional array and what extra do you need to do to take care of matrix or two-dimensional array. So first problem is declaring a matrix and initializing a matrix with an array during the declaration. So the same problem that we have solved in the beginning of the array. So let's see what we have done in case of array. So in case of array, we have just used int array1 4 then equals, and then we have done like inside opening and closing curly braces, we have just initialized it with 2 4 7 and 10. That is it. Now, in case of matrix, what you have to do is instead of one index, first of all, you have to have two different index. So let us declare it first. So int, instead of array, I am calling it matrix1, and instead of one size, I have to define the number of rows as well as the number of columns. So 4 rows and 5 columns. Instead of only one number, there are two different numbers, one for row and another for column. Now, so this is, let's see whether this is an acceptable declaration or not. So, well, of course, it is acceptable declaration. Now, let us see how to initialize this entire matrix. Now, for array, we have just used this line. So let's keep this element also in the matrix. So what we have done is, this is just how we have initialized an array. Now, if you just visualize the matrix, matrix is a table where each row is similar to an array. So what you have to do is, instead of only one row, you have to have several rows. For example, let's say there are 4 different rows as I have mentioned in here. So there should be 4 different rows, like let's say, and well, just to save some time, let's call it three-dimensional matrix with 4 columns. So there are 0 1 2 3, 4 columns are there, and we have to have 3 different rows. So just to save some time, I just reduced the size. So it is 2 4 7 10. Let's, the next row is, let's say, 21 47 72 and 33. Next is the row 0. This is row 1. Next is row 2. So this is going to be, let's say, 45 66 or 77 98 and followed by 100. So these are the 3 arrays, I mean the 3 rows. And now what you have to do is, this entire thing is forming a matrix. So you have to enclose all these 3 different arrays into one single matrix, just like this. And just for easy understanding, let me indent it a little bit so you can easily see that. So each element separated by a comma and within a opening and closing curly brace is forming one array. And now multiple array separated by comma and enclosed in an opening and closing curly brace forms a matrix. That is it. So that's the main difference. So now let us see whether it is running properly or not, whether our declaration and initialization is correct or not. So well, there is no error, so our declaration is okay. Now if I want to change the index, change the value at each index of that matrix, well, I'm not going to change all these 12 values, but I'm just going to show you some example, like matrix 1. Let's change the value at row 0 and column 3. So row 0 means row 0 and then column 3. And I want to change it to, let's say, 1111. That is 1111. So row 0 means this row and column 3 means 0, 1, 2, 3. So instead of 10, it should appear as 1111. So let us try to print this element. So if I want to print this element, what will happen is, so at a particular index of that matrix. So let's say I want to print cout, and instead of array, let me change it to matrix 1, then 0, this is 0, 3. Let us see whether it prints 1111 or not. So if I just run it, as you can see, it is printing 1111. So no problem in that. And also let us try to print another element. Let us try to print this one. Let's say row 3, row 0, 1, 2, row 2 and element 2. So row 2, element 2. What is that? It is row 0, row 1, row 2. So in this row, then column 0, column 1, column 2. So that is 98. So let us see whether this matrix 1, 2, 2, whether it prints 98 or not. So, well, it printed the exact result, 98, expected result. So everything is working properly. So this is how you can access each element of the matrix. Now let us try to print all the elements in the matrix instead of only one element. So how can I do that? I have to use two different loops. The first loop is to take care of all the row. So int row, it will start from 0 and row less than. So here I have 3 rows, so row less than 3 and row plus plus. Now the same thing you have to do for the columns, so that now it can print all the elements in each column of the row. So for int column equals 0, column less than, so there are 4 columns, so 4 column plus plus, and inside this opening and closing curly brace. Now what I have to do is cout matrix 1 and then access all the elements one after another, that is row space column. So that is how you can print all the elements in a matrix. Now let us see, let us run this code. So well, it printed all the elements, like the first element is 2, 4, 7, 10. If we 7, well, this 10 have been changed to 1111. So it printed 2, 4, 7 followed by 1111 followed by then 21, 47. So each row after one after another. But now of course we are not very satisfied with this type of printing of a matrix. We want to print it in a tabular format. So how can we do that? So first of all, let us print a space so that you can identify each of the element separately, each of the integer separately. So now everything is separated by a space. So now you can easily see that all the elements have been printed, like 2, 4, 7, then 1111, then 21, 47, 72, 33, that is this line, and finally the third line, 45, 77, 98, and 100, this line. So what I want, but still it is not in the form of a table, not in the form of a matrix. So what can I do to print each row in a separate line? This is simple. You can just print a line break, that is end line, in the after this inner loop, after printing all the columns in a row. So now if you just run it, you will see that all right, now everything is okay. It is printing the matrix properly. So 2, 4, 7, and then this value have been changed, 1011. The next is 21, 47, 72, 33, and next is 45, 77, 98, and 100. So everything is coming properly. Now, utilizing this type of looping and utilizing these facilities of index, now you can solve many multiple mathematical problems using this array or matrix.